Grand Chief Joe Norton, of course, in Quebec City to meet with Philip Couillard, as I mentioned, going into that piece. But he was also in Quebec City for the AFNQL meetings.
Yes, and he was there with Chief Rhonda Kirby and Winona Polson-Lahash, who is the Chief Political Advisor for the Mohawk Council of Kahnawà. They had an ambitious agenda. I really can't say enough about how busy it's been this week. So we talked to Winona Polson-Lahash about a little bit of a recap of how things went in Quebec City, or actually in Wendake, about the AFNQL meetings.
The agenda for the AFNQL meeting was actually very packed, but I guess two very important sessions that I could note were actually the session on relationship with Quebec government and how they want to go about addressing some common issues amongst all of the chiefs. And a second session to that was actually a session on their relationship with the federal government as well. So, and how what kind of agenda they want to put forward. The AFNQL meeting, or the AFNQL chiefs do have a meeting with Minister Bennett on February 19th or 18th, somewhere around there. And so part of that discussion was trying to figure out what and identify what all of the issues in the communities are so that they can come forward with a common message for that meeting. There was a lot of discussion on issues that I think and how to coordinate or organize themselves around certain issues like taxation, as an example. Some of the challenges being faced with taxation in communities, and how do they work together to try and ensure that they're protecting interests around taxation. I think one of the challenges that we have is probably recognition of a real nation-to-nation and a true nation-to-nation. Nations, Joe was very clear in the meeting that nations do not tax one another, and so how do we set up some kind of agreement that respects that sort of thinking, right? And so that message came across very clear. The Premier's response to that, I'd say we're still going to have some challenges ahead of us that we're going to have to try and face.
At the Monday, January 25th, official Monday council meeting, Chief Kanesatake Skydeer brought an interesting idea to the table. Tell us about it.
Yeah, she came up with an idea that for people who don't smoke, who want to participate in some of the social life at some of the clubs, most of them now have smoking. And she came up with some interesting ideas to not say that there won't be smoking anymore, but it's a little more creative. So we talked to her about that idea.
So I was approached by many people in the community who basically have been avoiding going to local social clubs, restaurants in the community because of the smoke. And, you know, we see the communities moving more toward healthier lifestyles by, you know, you can see there's more gyms in the community, there's more health food options. And as well, we see there's a less number of people in the community that smoke. And basically what I wanted to do was approach the clubs and restaurants that have smoking regularly if they would consider a provision or somehow offer some evenings that are non-smoking to cater to the non-smoking population of the community. And basically what I came up with was a project charter. We want to do a survey to see if people in the community would frequent the local social clubs and restaurants that have smoking if they offered a few days that were smoke-free. So I proposed it to Chief and Council at a Monday meeting, and I got full support. I approached the MCK Communications to come up with a plan, you know, how do we go about this? I drafted up some letters that would be sent to all of the stakeholders. And so now I guess the next phase is to do the survey. Well, first of all, I want all of the stakeholders to be informed of what's being proposed and what the initiative is. So if they have any questions, or if there's any questions that they would like asked on the survey, you know, we want to include them in the forefront. And then I guess the survey, once we develop the questions, I'll probably sit for a whole day at the services complex, or maybe even go to the clubs and restaurants in the community, so we could get a sense of, you know, what the community is thinking with regard to this, and then have a stakeholders meeting sometime the end of February, beginning of March, to present all of the results of the survey, and then go from there. And hopefully we could get some stakeholder agreements that everybody will be on board, and then after that notify the community.
Joe, you were in the council meeting that Monday when she presented it. What was the reaction from the rest of the table?
I was really quite pleased because everybody jumped on board pretty quickly and said, you know what, that is actually maybe a better approach, not looking at an outright ban, but a day here, a day there. It's something that is probably a little more doable, and then we can gauge how the community reacts as well. So a good idea.
Moving on to our next story. Joe, everyone knows it's talked about a lot. The seaway, when it came in, really cut everyone off from the river. I mean, literally cut off from the river. And, people like to go to the flat rocks or just to go across the other side. But you either got to swim the seaway, walk the train tracks, or drive all the way around, like about 10 miles, I guess, to get to where you want to over here. But Chief Kenneth McCumber also has an interesting idea.
He has a great idea, and it's a matter of how this will roll out. They're looking at the possibility of a water taxi in Kahnawà, leaving from the area, what we call the former Bay of Pigs. It'll now be the Bay of Taxi, I guess. I don't know. But and then going across right where that little emergency dock is, because you see they also have steps up there, and then people can go over to the flat rocks. So it's actually a pretty interesting idea. We got some funding for it, and we talked to him about what the plan is and how we'll move forward at this point. It is early, but surveys are part of that equation.
Well, we've been trying to get access to the North Wall, as you know, the other side of the seaway, for many years. As a matter of fact, almost 60 years. It's been very difficult for us to get there. So finally we came up with an idea, and it seems to be going along, that we're looking at getting a water taxi, which we're looking at getting a pontoon boat that will leave from the bay on the other side of the bridge, and working with the seaway. They're building a dock, which is already complete at this time. Right now, it would be delivered and stored at the Conservation Department until we need it. And right now, we're looking at getting a pontoon boat in there and to bring people back and forth. It'll be parking on the north side of the emergency docks on the other side of the seaway. And if you'll notice, at this time, there's already stairs that have been installed, so it's ready. And we're looking at early startup, about maybe early summer sometime. And it's just to get people back and forth, and we'll be able to go over with their bicycles and get to the North Wall, to the flat rocks. And so it's a time that we're trying to go back, and it's our own land, and just trying to get back to it. And this summer we're also looking at having a 2-day gathering over there. So we're hoping this will encourage people to go over there and to use the land a lot more. And we'll be working with the conservation at the same time. As a matter of fact, they will be running the project. And so we're looking forward to it this summer, just to see where it'll take us. Well, with the survey, we need more information on it. Right now, a lot of it is ideas, but we're looking for a variety of ideas. Some of them came in, like how often would you use it? When do you want to see it start? Things like that. We're not really sure. How would you buy a ticket? Because we want to use a ticket system so we can monitor how many people are using it. And also, too, would you want to buy tickets about a week or about a season? I says, really, if you run a survey, we'll probably get these results, and this is what we're looking for. If people are interested in getting our transportation over there by boat, and this is something I think most people have always said over the years, it's too difficult to go to Côte St. Catherine. It's too much trouble. I said, if you had a boat, I can go over by boat. I can get my bicycle, bring it up the stairs over there, or go for a ride, or go for a walk. Just let's get back to it. And so a lot of us are looking forward to it. But I want the survey to get a true picture of the town, exactly what are they looking at. And there may be some different ideas that we're not aware of.
Well, Joe, I guess that does it for this episode of KTV.
Yeah, nice to get on the road, get out of the office a bit, check things out here at the Assembly of First Nations, and here in Ottawa, very busy place, very intense meetings going on in there. And we hope that we've brought you some information that was useful, Kahnawà.
Yeah, and on a lighter note, being in Ottawa, Winterlude is going on for, I don't know, is it 2 weeks?
It's 2 weeks.
But starts on the 29th.
Yeah, it should be starting like
today.
As a matter of fact. Starts today, as a matter of fact. So we're going to leave you with some shots from Winterlude, and the canal is frozen. There's some different sculptures and things like that, and people have a good time. So if you're in Ottawa, stop by and visit us right here in front of the Parliament buildings. We're going to stay here for about 2 weeks, I think.
Thanks, Joe. And that will do it for this episode of KTV, Kahnawà Television. We'd like to say thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.